Cue fancy music.
They had breakout groups that you could go into. One was on resume building, one was on disclosure, another was upward mobility, another was on job searching.
Aira, by any definition of the Americans with Disabilities Act, is a reasonable accommodation.
You already know I'm like Aira jealous.
Zoom works pretty good. You can record on it. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's just always blowing my mind a little bit.
You can also live stream to Facebook from Zoom, and it'll show whatever you're showing on your Zoom screen in the Facebook Live. This podcast is not brought to you by Zoom.
Job Insights is a podcast that is helping you find careers and gainful employment through innovations and opportunities. And you can find the Job Insights podcast on blindabilities.com, part of the Blind Abilities Network. And as part of the Job Insights podcast, we will be bringing you the Job Insights Extras, consisting of interviews, demonstrations, and news surrounding employment, careers, and jobs, with host Serina Gilbert and myself, Jeff Thompson. And you can contact us by email at jobinsights@blindabilities.com. Leave us some feedback or suggest some topics that we cover on Twitter at JobInsightsVIP.
I use the Indeed website all the time with my clients when we're looking at job openings. I like it because it filters out all of the scams and weird Craigslist ads and things like that and gets right to what you're really looking for.
In this Job Insights Extra, we'll be talking about Aira and how they are enhancing the opportunities in education and employment for students and job seekers alike. We tap into a little bit about Zoom. Is it replacing Skype? It seems to have all the features to do so. Give it a try. See what you think. We touch base on an app called Indeed, which is also a website which will help you along your job-seeking journey. And we expand upon how conventions can help you in the job market, employment, and as a student, and the upcoming CSUN convention as well. So now please join Serina Gilbert and myself, Jeff Thompson, in this Job Insights Extra. We hope you enjoy.
When you acquire a disability or you are born with a disability, nobody gives you a book and says, here are your resources, have at it.
Well, how you doing, Serina?
I am doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just got back and settling in back home here in Minnesota.
You survived.
Yep, a lot of employment stuff, and people showed up, and that's one thing about these conventions is not only do you get an experience of traveling, different types of adventure through using mobility, getting to place, but you meet a lot of people and you get a lot of opportunity to focus in on the agenda, and I focused in on the employment parts of it. They had breakout groups that you could go into. One was on resume building, one was on disclosure, another was upward mobility, another was on job searching. There was lots of opportunities for people to get involved, and there was even one on meeting the voc rehab panel. There was a panel of voc rehab teachers and professionals in the field, TVIs, lots of good stuff. Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson, and I'm at the National Federation of the Blind Convention 2018 in Orlando, Florida. And I came across Daisha Van Alstyne, and she works at State Services for the Blind, and she's down here participating in the employment group. How are you doing, Daisha?
I'm doing well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. So there are some breakout sessions here, and you're a big part of that. And what happened yesterday in the employment area?
Well, yesterday we had 3 breakout sessions. After dinner, they were advocacy, networking, and then we had one on interviewing and resumes. Earlier, we had more of a general job-seeking type of situation where people were able to ask questions and get lots of information.
What type of people are targeted to attend these breakout sessions?
Really anybody that is looking for work or is looking to move maybe up in the company that they're at, or somebody that might be looking to switch careers. One of the things that we talked about was advocacy. How do you disclose? How do you handle situations where an employer asks questions that are maybe not appropriate? And really generally, how do you handle the whole disability factor when you're looking for a job?
And today you're going to be attending another session that you'll be participating in, and it is on upward mobility.
That is correct, Jeff. There's a lot of people that are looking to really take the next step in their career, whether it's with the company that they're at or looking for a different company, something higher, something that pays more, something that gives them more challenges.
Because someone doesn't have to be stagnant. Once they get feel lucky that they just have a job and just hold on to that, they can actually seek to better themselves.
Absolutely. Nobody is ever stuck in the position that they're at. A lot of people think because I have a disability, I may need to continue keeping this job because no one else will hire me. And that's really simply not the case.
Now, in your position at State Services for the Blind, if someone is quandering about these or wondering about any type of these topics, what would they do?
If you're looking at especially the upward mobility part and advancing in your career, if you're really confused about how this would look and what you need to do with this, you can talk to somebody at maybe your local agency. You don't necessarily need to be an active client with them. You could talk to their business people. Every agency has them. And just find out, what do I need to do? How do I make myself more marketable? How do I highlight the skills that I have? How do I transfer those to maybe a different career? How do I build off what I've done?
And now coming to the National Federation of the Blind convention and checking the agenda out, they can find all these groups. And what is the group that you're part of?
The group that's down here for the job seekers is the National Federation for the Blind's Employment Committee.
And there's also, like if someone's at these conventions, there's also teachers of the visually impaired groups as well.
There absolutely are. When it comes to working with students that have vision loss, at least in Minnesota, most of the school districts have people that go out and interface with businesses and help kids with disabilities get some experience. If you have a transition age youth, you can absolutely talk to the school district, talk to the blind and visually impaired teachers and find out, how do I get my child some experience? And they can help with that. They can also help with career planning. Do I want to go to college? Do I want to get into a career where I don't need college and experience is what's going to get me there? And they can help navigate that.
So there's a lot of resources.
There absolutely is.
Well, it's great that people don't have to feel that they're alone because not everybody knows everything about this stuff. They just look around and check out their state services, their voc rehabs, their National Federation of the Blind, or any other consumer group for the blind.
Absolutely. When you acquire a disability or you are born with a disability, nobody gives you a book and says, here are your resources, have at it. It's really all about advocating for yourself or advocating for your child and just asking questions and finding more people till you get what you need.
Well, Daisha, thank you very much for taking the time out of the convention to come on to Blind Abilities and share a little bit about what you're doing. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff.
I know that there was a lot of talk about how Aira fits into everything having to do with employment, from the job search even through to completing job tasks. Is that right?
Yeah, I was in attendance at a breakout session Aira sponsored, and it was Aira and employment. And Michael Hingsonspeaking was speaking along with Patrick Lane. And they were talking about reasonable accommodations, how Aira fits that bill, the things you can do. It saves you time compared to how much it would cost for a reader for some applications, and how Aira has this program where if you are filling out a resume and getting help and using Aira while you're researching a job, say you're going to an interview and back again, all those minutes are covered by Aira. You don't have to pay for those minutes, so they're free.
That could be a nice way to help with, I know sometimes there's applications that aren't the most accessible and something weird kind of happens with it and you kind of get stuck. So that'd be nice to be able to have the Aira agent help you figure that out, especially when it's a time-sensitive employment application you're trying to get in.
Exactly, and usually you're doing that on the computer. Another thing with Aira is they have a partnership with VFO, Andrew Joyce and Jaws.
So Jeff, I know there was another one that I saw come through that they have just partnered with. Do you remember who it was?
Oh yeah, more and more partnerships are being developed all the time and being announced. Just lately, the 26 YMCAs in the Minneapolis area have come on board as an Aira access point where you can use Aira services free. And some of the big news coming out is Anirudh Cole from Microsoft. He's the senior data scientist that was responsible for developing Seeing AI, has now joined Aira as head of the artificial intelligence and research at Aira. That's great news. And Chloe is going to be worked on and enhanced, I'm sure. Yeah. Where is this going to take us? We only know. But yeah, partnerships are being developed all the time. So stay tuned for more and more partnerships joining the Aira team and making Aira accessible and affordable to all. Another area of growth is, I believe it's 6 states that their state agencies, vocational rehab, are now offering Aira as a service, and even colleges, their disability services office is now providing the service as well.
That's very nice to hear. I mean, I know it'll take a little while for the word to get out to the bureaucracy that it is, but I think it's great that that's something that people are considering to help with more accessibility for their clients.
Yeah. Well, when you think about reasonable accommodation, what is it? Offering a free zone for your company. Say you're a voc rehab or a state agency of the blind and you have 5 or 6 people who could benefit from Aira. And if they do have it, why not allow those minutes to be free? I don't know. It's something interesting. I know San Francisco Lighthouse for the blind and visually impaired is considering making their area a free zone as well. So like you said, it's catching on. I think it's becoming more of a household name in the blindness community. It used to be kind of a idea, or people didn't know it was really out there and working, but I believe they're growing. I would have to say they got to be up to at least 2,000 some users now, especially now that they're worldwide, and even Minnesota.
That's a whole other country there.
Yeah. But that puts them around the clock. So you can turn it on and actually have service around the clock.
And even before they went international, I feel like they had pretty accessible hours because I believe it was like 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time or something like that. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So now it's pretty much 24/7. And from what I reckoned, when did I ever use that word?
Yeah, who did you hang out with from the South there for a little while?
Yeah, well, there's people from all over every walk of life is there. The blindness doesn't pull you all together. It's just normal people. We just have a common thing of visual challenges.
And that was in a free zone too, because I know they made Orlando did they call it an Aira access point or something like that, where it was free for everyone?
Exactly, and where the guests too, because if you were down there with the iPhone, you could just download the app, sign up, and you could get yourself an agent and use it just like you had it, just like you were part of it. You were an explorer now, but you're a guest. I heard a lot of people really satisfied and excited about it.
I think that's really cool. I mean, you already know I'm like Aira jealous, and I'm just waiting for that price to come down a little bit for me before I take that plunge. But I mean, it just sounds really cool. No surprise here, Jeff. So what I most want to do with it is go shopping one day. Yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, I was in an Aira session and Michael Hingsonspeaking had a few words to say. So let's segue right into that right now.
Aira, if you look at Aira in the general terms of what it is, Aira is an information source. Aira is a way that you can get any visual information that you otherwise would not have access to. When I talk to a lot of people about Aira, they think about the fact that, oh, well, I really have good travel skills, so I don't need it. Or I've always got sighted people with me, so I don't have that problem. Let's deal with that in terms of a job. I'm on the job, I'm using JAWS, and suddenly the computer quits working. Now where do I go to get my sighted assistance? I'm in the office, I've got to go interrupt somebody else to get them to come and look at the screen, tell me what the error screen is, or of course the infamous blue screen of death. In any case, I have to go find someone. Why should I have to do that today? Because there is a way to do that on my own, namely using Aira. I can use Aira to contact an agent. The agent can look at the screen, see an error code, and if I can't easily move my cursor to where it needs to go, it's possible that I can even enter into a tandem or two-way session using TeamViewer or some other technology with the agent. That might be a little harder with JAWS not talking, but for a lot of different things that I do, where there is an inaccessible web page or something that isn't talking the way it should, I can interact with an agent and get their assistance, both in terms of actually having a session, a two-way communication session, or at least getting information described. If I am an employee and I want to go to lunch, let's say I'm in sales and I want to take people somewhere for lunch, for sales, I can more quickly use an Aira agent to research possible restaurants if I don't really know all the options, or when I get to the restaurant or going to the restaurant, using an agent's help to do all of that. Aira gives me the opportunity to get anything that I need that I don't otherwise have access to because it's visual. It is that simple, it is that general, and I urge people to look at Aira in that way. Don't limit yourself to looking at it as a travel device. Don't look at it as something that's going to diminish your skills. Don't look at it as something that is anything other than what it is, an information source. And all of us, no matter how good our cane skills are, no matter how good our dog skills are, can benefit by having access to Aira, because Aira is the way that I can get more information to better tell my dog where I want to go or interact with traveling with my cane. So you go off and you graduate, and then you go looking for a job. The first thing you should be aware of if you happen to be an Aira Explorer is that we have an Aira Access Network for jobs, a job access network, whatever you want to call it, that will stick it in your memory. If you are doing anything relating to getting a job at all, whether it's writing a resume, writing a cover letter, making sure everything is formatted, getting dressed to go to a job interview, ladies putting on makeup, anything at all related to getting a job, that time is automatically free to you. So for any Aira Explorer, doing anything relating to getting a job is free. We are saying at Aira, we want to take that unemployment rate from 70% unemployment rate among blind people down to 7%, which would be cool. And Aira is trying to help to make that happen by making it possible for you as an explorer to have access to the tools at no additional charge to get that job. What does it mean, though, as far as getting a job, and where does Aira fit into that? The way Aira fits in is really pretty simple. Aira, by any definition of the Americans with Disabilities Act, is a reasonable accommodation. It is something that should be usable and used by you on the job. I can take almost any job that you can imagine and find a way Aira can help. Because again, remember what Aira is, an information source. It provides you with what information you need.
And this was just a snippet taken from the full podcast that we produced over on Blind Abilities. Be sure to check it out and see how Aira enhances the opportunities in employment, education, and as a student. There's a link in the show notes. Be sure to check it out. So with Aira, it's getting more and more, like we said, a household name. More voc rehabs are aware of it. More counselors are aware of it. So who knows what it'll be tomorrow, because they're ever changing. My wife Lori just received the Horizon glasses, which puts the lens right in the center. It gives you more of a fisheye look so the agent can actually see more and do more. They have a Samsung device that is actually a phone, but it's locked for only Aira to use. So you turn that on and there's wire that goes up to the glasses, and now you don't have any connectivity between the Bluetooth from your phone to the MiFi. You had 3 connections there that all had to be in sync. And now it's just one wire, one phone. And I believe it's up to a 7 to 9 hour battery life.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. And I've heard they're pretty stylish now, too. 'Cause I guess the previous ones were like glasses with no lenses.
and some of these people are getting with the tinted glass. So it seems all right. You know, it's Clark Kent-esque. I mean, because, well, face it, you do have a charge going to it. You do have batteries going to them. They do have a camera mounted in them. So you're not able to just have wire rims and aviator glasses. So Lori told me that they don't fall, they don't move once they're on, so they're real stable. That means a lot when actually the agent wants you to look at something that you can just turn and you don't have to, look like a bobblehead in the back of a car. They probably did a lot of research on this. Greg Stelson, who is the product developer there, part of the team, did a great job on the Horizon. Good things are on the horizon, they say.
So did she get hers at the conference or did they mail them to her?
Before the convention happened, they sent out a notice that if you were attending, they would then bring the glasses there. And so when she was there, she was on the list and she received them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she went up to the room, put it on the charger, and later on tried them on, and they seem to work really well for her. And she likes the idea that you don't have to use your phone to do it. It's kind of interesting because the wire plugs into the back end of the glasses. So the wire comes down it doesn't hang down your cheek. It goes. So
it's out of the way.
Yeah, it goes down, behind your ear and then down your shoulder, When she was using them, I didn't even really recognize Well, my blindness helps there, I suppose. But yeah, people were excited about them. Serina, we're talking about jobs and everything like that. One thing I noticed was kind of a common denominator. I would say 3 out of 10 people mentioned it while I was down there. The app, and I believe there's a software product for computers, Indeed. Have you ever used that?
Yep, I use the Indeed website all the time with my clients when we're looking at job openings.
And you use that on the PC?
Correct.
How do you like it?
It used to be more accessible. It used to be when you typed in the job search and everything and you picked a job you wanted to look at, it would open up in a new window. And now it still opens, but it opens up at the bottom of the page. And unless you go adventure and look for it at the bottom of the page, you never would know. So it is still accessible. It's just different now. But I like it because it filters out all of the scams and weird Craigslist ads and things like that and gets right to what you're really looking for. You can also set up an alert where it'll send you every day jobs that match what you're looking for, so you can be one of the first to see them and apply for them.
Well, that's great because I got a new iPad and I noticed that there's a new upgrade to the Indeed app. So I'm going to try it out on the iPad and I'm going to try it out on my iPhone because I updated there.
No, I do use it on my phone, though. It is very accessible on the phone, but I wouldn't recommend applying for a job from your phone.
Or setting up a Zoom meeting. We use Zoom on here, and it's a very good app. And while I was at convention and in the pool, I ran into a gentleman, not physically, but we were chit-chatting. He was part of, I believe it was South Carolina, Voc Rehab for the Deaf Blind. And they had switched to Zoom, and he said that because I have the Pro, that I can actually switch my identification number. You know, when you set up a meeting, it gives you an identification number. You can actually change that if you want. You could change it to, I don't know, Volkswagen or Love Bug, or you could change it to, you know, Red Pony, anything you wanted to change it to, and that would be your meeting link.
I think it has to be a series of numbers still for the meeting ID, but you can customize it to be something that people would remember easier.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. A lot of people are using it. They have a business package that they have. And he says that if you have like 15, 20 people in a meeting, he said you can break out into 4 groups and 5 people go into each group, and then you can bring them all back again.
Yeah, you can do that. I believe it's in the webinar setting on it. That one's like $40 a month or something to have the webinar piece. But you can also live stream to Facebook from Zoom if you have the webinar piece added onto the account.
Oh, really?
And it'll show whatever you're showing on your Zoom screen in the Facebook Live.
It's just really impressive to me what Zoom is doing when you've had other companies sitting back on their laurels. Let's take Skype, for example. It was Skype for many, many years. That's all it was. That's all we used it for. And some others have come and gone, but Zoom seemed to come in all ready and prepared because it just seems like it keeps growing, or I keep on finding out more and more of what you can do with it. So people out there are looking for a conference type of, I don't know, walkie-talkie communication here that we're using. Zoom works pretty good. You can record on it. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's just always blowing my mind a little bit.
This podcast is not brought to you by Zoom.
But you do like it, right?
Oh, I love Zoom. I hate Skype. It's a pain to use. Zoom just works. That's a really just, it's kind of like Apple, right? It just works. Except it really does just work.
It really, really works. Except for when we did it today, when we were trying to connect up. I sent a request.
I'm convinced you sent me a different link.
Well, I set it up on my phone and I sent it out. It says send request. And so I sent it out. And then I came into my computer, started it up, and I saw the meeting was there. So I went into the room and she went into a room, but we were in different rooms. And for some reason, my phone must be set up for, what did you say, private room?
Yeah, well, so when you have a Zoom account, you get a personal meeting ID that is the exact same meeting ID every time you send someone that link. And that's the link that you sent me, was the personal meeting ID. I was like, I feel special.
Yeah. So then I sent another link from my computer and then we got all connected up. So other than that,
Jeff's still on conference time.
it is. If people ever get a chance to check out one of the conventions next year, it's in Las Vegas. The NFB, National Federation of the Blind convention, will be in Las Vegas. And I believe it runs from July 7th to July 12th. And ACB will be in Rochester, New York. I believe that will be before that. I don't think they're going to be running overlapping. I think they'll probably be going from, my guess will be from the 1st to the 9th or something. I know the ACB is a little bit longer, but they have a lot more fun activities, lots of walks, lots of, I don't know, boat rides and all sorts of stuff outside the area, a lot of bussing around to do things, but they seem to make it a really social type of atmosphere at those. And the NFB is, I would say, mostly locked into a lot of business and a lot of opportunities to get together with people.
And CSUN is in February.
End of February, that's right. And this time it's moving to Anaheim, California.
And for those who don't know what CSUN is, it stands for California State University Northridge. From what my understanding is, it's the biggest assistive technology conference for blind and low vision, at least in the North America, maybe even the world. And very large names come into that. That's where a lot of new technology is introduced and talked about that's related to blind and low vision. It's kind of like a person like me's like biggest dream, because I'm just a tech nerd. Been trying to go there for years, but it never works out. But I think it might work out this year. Hint, hint.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because I haven't ever gone to one of those, and you hear about it, and you hear a lot about the tech stuff. That's really what it is. But there's also a lot of breakout rooms. Like Microsoft might have 3 different sessions that they're talking about. Google will be there with sessions that you go into, and they'll talk about their accessibility and the development that they're doing with the Chromebook. And what is don't they have VoiceBox or something like that?
Chromebox. Yeah, it's like their built-in screen reader for their Chromebooks.
And I was talking to them, and they wanted to give me a demonstration, but I had to move over to the Amazon because I got an interview with none other than Peter Korn, Amazon's Peter Korn. And there's one thing that I really want to make a point of at conventions, the things that are changing at conventions. When you go into the exhibit halls, it used to be, where's the Jaws? Where are they? Where's Hunter Joyce? Now it's VFO. Where's Humanware? All these different places that we would flock to, Now you walk in, front and center, you got Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Aira. They've taken over the front of the convention hall. Kind of reminds me of Walmart coming into a small town. Walmart comes in and a lot of the small mom and pop shops disappear. Well, it's not really happening like that to effect, but look how many timers are being sold by Maxi Aids when you can use your Amazon device, your Google device, your Siri. What time is it? Set timer, So a lot of the gadgets have gone to the wayside. A lot of these devices were changing, and it's starting to show in the convention. How many times has Microsoft ever showed up to an NFB convention? 2. Google. Once. Now we have Amazon twice. Where's it going to be in 5 years? HIMS didn't even show up.
Oh, wow.
So I think we're in for a change. More of the mainstream companies are starting to take over the products, making things accessible, and that's what we want. So seeing these big companies come in, and things might be more mainstream. They send in their people who are involved with the accessibility at the company. Peter Korn, he was the accessibility director all the way back to Kindle. His department went. So it was really neat to see them all there in full force, all about accessibility.
That's great. Sounds like you had fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I even went to convention. No, it was a lot of fun.
I even attended some breakout sessions.
It's really neat to meet people because that's what it is about networking, You really get an opportunity to meet some interesting people with very like-mindedness, people who have overcome the struggles and the challenges ahead of you with blindness as you go through your journeys. So a lot of success stories there, and I captured a few of them that you'll be listening to. Some job extras. Hey, if we were in the Tupperware, we'd be at a Tupperware party, right?
Yes.
But it's always nice to get back home. After you go to the convention, it's nice to get back home. You get too much of the different foods, different people, different stuff, and all the congestion, 2,500 canes and dogs, elevators and all that. It's almost like you need more noise. Heck, let's bring it to Vegas. That'll be a lot better. Then you have gambling machines going ding, 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 ding. To me, it almost gets to a point of aggravation in Vegas. So I don't know. That'll be quite a trip.
Oh gosh, that could be stimulation overload. Man.
Oh yeah, when you're actually just trying to figure out where you're going, your cane tap, how you use all the sounds to identify things, and all you need is 2 people to wing the jackpot, and you get lost like a crazy.
Yeah, and that casino. Well, none of the casinos are really very well lit. For low vision.
Yeah, it's really interesting to meet all sorts of different people. Well, it's all over for this year. Now we get to wait for the next one, and like you said, it's CSUN, isn't it? CSUN 2019.
If I have my luck at it, yes.
There you go. The thing about CSUN, I would in advance try and find a place there because the hotels are pretty expensive. And Anaheim, I don't think is any cheaper. Usually when I go to a convention on January 1st is when I do the stuff for the summer ones. So when you're talking CSUN, when you find out exactly which hotel it is, I would start looking probably around Thanksgiving time and start looking for those hotel rooms because they fill up fast and then they go to an overflow. And overflow is not as much fun.
Yeah, it's not where the party's at.
But yeah, CSUN, Anaheim, I think I'll be there. You?
I don't know, Jeff, will I?
We'll have to see.
To be continued.
Yeah. So stay tuned, folks, for more podcasts from Job Insights. My name is Jeff Thompson. You can find me at Known as Jeff on Twitter.
And I'm Serina Gilbert. You can find me at BlindyBlog. That's at BLINDYBLOG. Cue fancy music.
I'm going to leave that. Thank you for listening to this Job Insights Extra. And be sure to check out all the Job Insights podcasts on blindabilities.com. Big thank you to Chichow for your beautiful music, and that's El Chichow on Twitter. Once again, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the reality
of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.